All right, we got Joe Lieberman with us right now, the former Democratic independent senator, vice presidential candidate in the Democratic ticket. He is joining with some very powerful Republicans, including Lindsey Graham and John McCain. No big fan of this deal for Iran. In fact, it's like a tour they're on, the No Nukes for Iran tour. I don't know if it's quite like the Rolling Stones or anything like that. But bottom line, Senator, you think this is important enough to be heard? Why? A lot of those in the administration who support this say, you don't know. It's a better deal than you think. What do you think?
Well, first, Neil, let me thank you for including my name in a sentence that also included the Rolling Stones.
That's my age reference. There are a lot of young people here who had no idea what I was talking about. Yeah.
All right. First time in my life that's happened. So, look, this is I thought back to my 24 years in the Senate. I can't think of a vote that I cast, apart from the ones deploying American troops into combat, that was as important as this agreement will be to the future security of the United States. The amazing thing to say, which people don't talk about, is that nobody thinks that this agreement has the possibility of getting approved by Congress. In other words, it's clear that there is a majority that will reject it. The only question is, will there be 2/3 in both chambers to override a presidential veto? And
what do you think of that? It's close. It might be close, but I'm told that it would need at least another 10 votes to do that.
Yeah, I think they're there. They're not there now, but they can be there. In other words, if you combine those who are clearly have said already they're going to be against it with those who have remained undecided, it's well over 2/3 in both chambers. And people are looking at it seriously. They know the importance of the vote. They know that they voted for sanctions, Congress, over the years against Republican and Democratic presidents, strong bipartisan majorities, for a single reason, that economic sanctions on Iran would only come off if Iran's nuclear weapons program ended. This agreement does the opposite. Take the sanctions off, and after a period of years, they get to be a nuclear power. I think that's the reason that there's enough votes here to reject this agreement and tell the administration, go back to the table and negotiate a better deal.
You know, John Kerry had said, Senator, I'm paraphrasing here, that, you don't like this deal, the next alternative is war. What did you make of that?
Well, that's just not right. And that's a natural debating tactic. But all of us opposed to the agreement don't want war. We want a better agreement. And we feel that the U.S. and our allies went into these negotiations in a powerful position because the Iranian economy was really suffering. But we basically conceded and conceded and conceded to the Iranians. It was as if they were dominating the negotiations. I mean, they're a second or third rate power. We're the greatest country in the world. And yet they got more from us in this negotiation and our allies than we got from them.
Senator, I know you're doing this with Senator John McCain and Senator Lindsey Graham, two gentlemen of whom Donald Trump has been very, very critical, including Lindsey Graham just this morning in South Carolina. I want you to react to this. This is Donald Trump.
So they say they didn't like the way that, I'm a little loud. I'm a little too strong, but they don't like it. And then I watched this idiot Lindsey Graham on television today, and he calls me a jackass. He's a jackass.
What do you think of that?
Well, I think the dialogue in the campaign has gotten to a terrible point, and let's raise it up again to the issues that the American people care about.
What the hell are you talking about? I don't understand.
Let's quietly look at what Donald Trump said. He said John McCain is not a war hero. He got captured. I don't like people who get captured. Well, what an insult to a guy who got captured because he was carrying out a dangerous mission in service of our country. He did try
to dial it back a little bit, Senator. I'm not excusing that comment. But then he doubled down by saying what he did of Lindsey Graham, although he has said that those guys shot him first, that they criticized him first, and Lindsey Graham did call Trump a jackass.
Yeah, that was after he said what he said. But why doesn't everybody stop it and get back to talking about how to keep America safe in a dangerous world, how to improve our economy, how to make our public schools better, et cetera?
Well, are you surprised then, Senator, that Trump polls as well as he does, even post these comments?
Yeah, I am, and I think people who are leaders in the Republican Party are probably more than surprised. They're really terrified about it because there's no way Donald Trump's going to be elected the next president of the United States. So let's hope that the voters are heard in a different direction when they come out to vote. But most of all, let's stop the name calling. It's really, it gets nowhere. And let's go back to the issues that the country faces and deal with them constructively. All
right. Now, the fact is that whatever you call it with Donald Trump, whether the people are ignoring the messenger and focusing on his message, there's rage there. There's rage that's building these huge crowds that have seen Bernie Sanders. I know, sir, on the left and right, two different examples, but very real populist and palpable grief, anger. What do you make of that, and whether the parties either are sensing the gravity of that?
Yeah, well, I think the crowds coming out for Bernie Sanders and the polling numbers for Donald Trump show that in each party there are a group of people who are really angry. I don't know that it's a majority, but it's a significant minority. And it's going to be a challenge to the candidates who get the nomination to try to deal with that constructively. Anger is not a policy. You got to have a policy in response to what's making the people angry. I think a lot of that is fear about the spread of terrorism, including in our country. I mean, you have a terrorist walk in and shoot 5 Marines in an American city. It's outrageous. And it's also a continuing anger about unfairness in the economy, which we've got to see the candidates respond to. Most of all, I think the candidates have to be responsible. When you know there's anger out there, it's easy to appeal to the anger and in some sense to raise it up, to enrage people more. That may make them feel good, but that's not the way the country gets better. And really, in the end, it gets better only if people work across party lines to get something done here in Washington, which hasn't happened very much lately.
No, it is not. Senator, that's very well put. I like that line. Anger is not a policy. If you don't mind, I will steal that as my own, if you don't mind.
Well, I mean, this is an exclusive from me to Neil Cavuto.
I like that. That was very nice of you to do, and I appreciate that, but I will not give you credit.
Okay.
Senator, thank you very much, and for your
Neil,
service and years to this fine country.